We totter off toward the sunset's vanishing point in search of a corn dog and something like a bench. Collisions happen in 4 dimensions, just like anything else. The only difference is that whenever one finally happens to us, it tends to present as a surprise, and only later, if ever, as an electable, even delectable fate. Zooming out and rewinding, we can triangulate fulfillment's finale from its antecedent vectors. A loose yet lucid collection of trajectories, yours and mine, running amuck in the rail yard of the possible, hooting and hollering and tweaking the nose of the po-faced superintendent. This is where we choose our fighter, from an admittedly ragtag and unsophisticated bunch, yet complexity often lurks beneath the surface of the simple, stowing away for the ride, underpinning our motley miscreants-like chassis. And as our separate cars, clanking and ratcheting, summit precursory mountains, and the strains of Muzak shift from perfunctory to foreboding, time stops, and the world tastes a stillness too brief to be named. Before we know it, we're off and careening, white-knuckling to within striking distance, barely hewing to the provisional tracks that seem to be laid down only as we skate along them. One has the sensation of moving within a cavernous outdoor room, body drifting without conscious will or effort. That was the way I experienced your eyes, which sang a song I thought I wrote, prismatic melody triggering full-body fibrillation, ambiguous eye contact, laughter. Before we know it, and all too soon, the ride is over. The sky has dimmed down, and the buzzing air has resumed, abrasive with hateful stimuli.
I am soaked. This morning, the rain had let up, but when I finally had my shoes on post-putter, the river from the sky had resumed. I opted to remain inside and direct a hot, flavored river down my throat instead. But this time, would I make it? I sprang up as the sun burst through, luring me out the door. I was getting my dose. Maybe late fall wasn't so bad. As soon as I was hitting my stride, the water returned with a vengeance. I was caught. Here I am. My body is tense. My face contorts as my dryness gradually gives way to a seeping, clammy moisture. I look longingly for shelter, but the trees are already saturated. My spandex pants cling cold to my thighs. Each step triggers an icy baptism in my shoe, a perpetual soundtrack of squelch. Yuck. I stop. I listen. I inhale deeply. I let go. Warmth pulses through my insides, caressing my cold electric skin. Colors soften and trees dance in slow motion, welcoming the refreshment and letting go of their leaves. A rhythmic patter is punctuated by the splats of bigger releases, backed by the undulating hum of the wind. Ugh, I exclaim. I love it. I feel soaked. I feel awake. I feel alive. My face is an estuary. Salty warmth pouring from my tear ducts merges with sweet freshness pouring from the sky. Nice to see you again. It's been a while since we took that roller coaster of an asteroid ride. Right? Pretty cool that we enabled life to form. Here I am, bathing in life-giving molecules as old as time as they condense and fall from the sky. Here I am, surrounded by so much life, all made possible by water. Here I am, alive, made possible by water. Thank you, water. Thank you, rain. I'm so glad you're here. I am soaked.
I don't know what it is, but ugh, I love it. It's so wormy and goopy, but ugh, I love it. Okay. I spent all my time looking, ugh, but I love it. You only get one shot, but it's never over, ugh, but I love it. It's too weird, but ugh, I love it. Not weird enough, actually, ugh, but I love it. So, something, ugh, but I love it.
Really want to know about that.
What's with the sweet potatoes, though? That's what I was.
Sweet potato pone.
Yeah.
Well, who's sweet potato?
Exactly. That's you.
Are we recording? Oh, really?
Here, wait. We're trying to hit a clean start.
You don't want to be silly.
We don't
about
have
that
clean
pone.
starts in Deadwood.
This is a dirty stove. One of the dirty stoves. I'm sorry. Okay, let's. All right. Someone want to count us in?
1, 2, 3, 4. Wait. Sorry, it doesn't. Because it doesn't. 1, 2.
What? So let's.
1, 2.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't actually know how to.
No, now that we know. 1, 2.
1, 2.
Okay.
1, 2. So James, tell us about poems.
Wait. Well, is there no music playing?
No, it's just straight up poems. It's a poems discussion.
Oh, well, I mean, what do you want to know about them? Poems come in all types of categories. All types.
Do you have any heavy poems?
Oh, we got the biggest poems you would have never seen.
What about lightweight poems? Because the heavy ones tend to chafe.
You know, we got some for them light-thighed riders.
You got side saddle ponies?
Side saddle, unisaddle, back saddle, we got it all. Ponatopia.
Crows. The inky black crow watched me from the phone lines. She noticed when my curtains were parted, anticipating when I came and went. She remembered who I was. Like waking from a deep slumber, she gave me my first clues that something was going on. The crow would shift side to side and caw. This crow had watched humanity emerge from the ocean. This crow was a dinosaur. This crow had seen all of us since before we were human and had watched us grow up. And after seeing everything that we've done, even all of the terrible blundering parts, I was still being welcomed and greeted. The crow didn't dive bomb me. That's because this isn't a movie like The Birds. It's the opposite of that. Imagine the Hitchcock film turned upside down or watching it in film negative. Flip the story. That film is the personification of our guilt and our dark, sad secrets. We worry that we're not good people, and we suspect that we should be punished. So this crow was patient, knew who I was, and was justly there for me. And then my eyes blinkered open, and I realized that I was part of this whole world. That I was family and kin to this crow, that I had belonged all along, and I'd been lost in some Hitchcock nightmare where I thought that I wasn't worthy. But of course I was, and it is my birthright. I was lucky. I found my way, and I realized I was part of the whole. All right, amen. So when a crow does that ritual, what you're watching is infinite patience. You're watching an animal, part of a larger whole. That includes you, by the way. A group of living beings singing a symphony, begging you to love yourself and let it go. And if you can figure that out, you will know that what you're watching is holy, is holy, is holy, is holy, is holy.
What does it sound like?
Sounds like you're in her ear.
What?
Sounds like you're in her ear.
Wow, it picks up everything so well, like even my own voice. Okay. Come over here. What? Right? But now you talk. Oh yeah. Ooh. Oh my god! Wait, no, say, talk. Like, see, really talk. Hear yourself.
Really
What are you gonna put on your pizza?
Oh, I can hear myself breathe. Oh. Probably. Well, I don't know what all the toppings are. Did anyone bring
Mama
anchovies?
Lil's, pepperoni, sausage, onion, mushroom,
Black olives.
green peppers.
The same thing happened to me. 1. You can hold yourself back from the sufferings of the world. This is something you're free to do and is in accord with your nature, but perhaps precisely this holding back is the only suffering that you might be able to avoid. Sounds like a dark comedy, doesn't it? Maybe a case of mistaken identity. Whoops, I thought I was myself, or something just as silly. 2. Though what would it mean to take things seriously? If you pose the question too earnestly, too urgently, or too excitedly in polite society, you risk being scoffed at, condescended to, regarded as naive. The vibe is simultaneously empirical and apocalyptic. Our greatest traditions of knowledge and thought have brought us to the crushing mediocrity of our own eschatological certainty. I think of that Shin song, Caring is Creepy. It's a beautiful song of unflinching and useless nihilism. 3. My position is the opposite of chill, hence my brief and albeit merely anecdotal anthropological understanding of chill. It operates as a kind of atmospheric euphemism and shibboleth, blanketing the social structure with a decidedly anti-intellectual imperative to maintain a tacit agreement not to talk about it. What is it? 4. Heraclitus, you can't step in the same river twice. Cratylus, you can't step in the same river once. Now this is my jam. You fucking tell him, Lil Crady. I think this is the it that nobody wants to talk about. The groundless nature of reality and our creative complicity in the endlessly wonderful and momentary just so-ness of the universe. This is Proof Rock's peach, no? The fear and trembling at the specter of our own personal disturbance of the universe. 5. The same thing never happens to anyone, I guess is my point. Side quest, a new consideration of simile and metaphor. The simile is weak primarily because it implicitly and pretentiously presumes a stable, knowable reality within which to compare like items. The metaphor collapses itself completely into the visionary state of mystical truth in which, for example, the moon is a blind eye, or a silver coin, and anything else besides. 6. Okay, I admit it. This hasn't been simple at all. Please allow me to reformulate. Go jump in a river sometime and see if you can figure out what's happening. 7. Devin Champlin's recent song, Trouble, starts out with a simple observation from the catastrophe of mediocrity we call society. It seems the things that you don't like matter more than the things that you do. I want to be clear. I'm surprised to be so grateful for all the things that I don't like. It's an endless supply of negative inspiration I can use in clarifying my thoughts about the things that I love. Champlin's new record, How to Turn from Blue to Green, for instance, which I highly recommend. 8. You can hold yourself back from the sufferings of the world. This is something you are free to do, and is in accord with your nature. But perhaps precisely this holding back is the only suffering that you might be able to avoid. The same thing happened to me. Caleb Thompson.
You like my haircut? You like my hat? But do you like my sweatshirt? Yeah, my sweatshirt. You like my sweatshirt? Wait, that's amazing. Hold on, someone's calling me.
Hey dude, it's me from the club. You remember me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so just roll with me. I had that idea. Instead of the shower me with blessing slides, probably just like right for the president, President Morley. Out of a rental, but clear above one or two big red Christmas tree pipes.
Okay.
Bowling cream,
Yeah.
plastic flakes. Are you mad at me? What do you think?
I love it.
Cliché, a form of violence. This thought that night, I escaped the dark rooms and walked hours in morning dark. Language stripped is useless screaming, susceptible to fantasy. No means no becomes me too. Escape, like poetry, is freedom meeting loneliness. Loneliness meeting freedom is poetry. Like escape to me becomes no means, no fantasy too susceptible. Screaming useless is stripped language. Dark morning in hours walked and rooms dark. The escaped I. Night. That thought. This violence of form. A cliché.
Where repression becomes identity, you find yourself defined by or lost in parts of yourself you don't know exist. They might be red or green or blue. In this way, you're not eaten by monsters but made by them. The same thing happened to me. It was like getting lost in a sea of grief so vast you disappear, like a silence so encompassing your voice just blinks out. And then even in the midst, sometimes of the fullest blooming, you simply wink out. No, maybe you realize after all, you are the motherfucking sunflower. The monster head, the sky, all of it. You cannot run away from it, but nor can it run away from you, thankfully.
Wait, you're thankful about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
okay, whatever, man.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. We live at the bottom of a sea whose tides we create by distant actions. Look, what?
I'm sorry. What does that mean?
Just to be like,
people are dying. There's like 120 guns for every 100 people in the US.
Yeah, but how many bullets are there?
Shut up, Steve. And like, what the fuck is this?
Okay, what do you suggest?
Like, go change shit. Just like walk out into the streets. Go make peace or something.
Dude, you're the one talking shit to your own poetry voice.
Oh, you're the poetry voice now?
Look, it's pretty simple. I love you. I love you. I love you.
You're still just a voice on a screen.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
Oh, I love it.